All right, Matt. Well, we're back. Been a pretty rainy week, so not too many
That's an
activities.
understatement, though.
Yeah, and it's like pouring
Freaking, it's
today.
pouring.
I don't know what's going on with this weather. It was so weird because I know it was supposed to rain, and then like yesterday cleared up. So I was like, hmm, maybe the rain is like done. Like typical Hawaii reports where it's like, oh, it's supposed to rain, and then it doesn't rain, but then it pours today.
Yep.
Anyway, we're gonna try to make it a short one here today. Not too many eventful things happen the past week, so we don't have a ton to talk about, but we'll get to some stuff. So we'll start off with All-Star weekend. As you guys know, me and Matt drafted our teams. Um, yeah, I think I won, but I think
You
Matt
know,
is saying we need to run some
yeah, gotta run
simulation.
that 2K simulation.
Yeah, to really know who got the edge there. So maybe we'll do that um when we have time. But let's get to All-Star weekend. Matt, I don't know. Is NBA All-Star weekend becoming dangerously close to the NFL Pro Bowl of a couple years ago where some changes are going to be needed? Because I mean the dunk contest, it's always nice. Like 3-point shootout, it's easy to be competitive because it's almost like a home run derby to me, um, where it's not super detrimental. I know, well, home run derby messes up some players, like their swings and stuff, right? But I mean, other than that, um, I like to see like competitive events. So I kind of like the NFL stuff this year, even flag football, whatnot. It was still more competitive than what we're used to seeing. Um, but yeah, the game, like, I mean, the Rising Stars was cool and everything. Um, Seemed like that got a little competitive, but I mean, the All Star game, it was just dunks and like Dame hitting half court shots. Um, yeah, I don't
And
know.
Jason Tatum making all his shots,
All
wide
making,
open
yeah,
shots.
making all his wide open shots. So it's, I don't know. You think something has to change next year, or at least moving forward? You know, is it what is it gonna have to be? Maybe it's different games or different something. The draft was cool. The live draft, it's pretty entertaining, at least. Got some good entertainment value from that. But yeah, the game, it just doesn't seem the same anymore. Um, I don't know. I don't know if something
Well, I think
needs to
I
change.
think watching the game, I tortured myself watching that entire game.
Yeah,
And
me
I will
too.
say the competitive part of it was really between Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. They had a nice 2 minute stretch late in the third where they were just going one on one. Like that was, pretty entertaining to watch. So I don't know if they need to get something more like that. I mean, I think even you said this for the Pro Bowl, right?
Right, one
Some
on
kind of
ones,
one-on-ones, king of the
king of
court,
the court.
right? A lot of these guys in the All-Star game, you could arguably say can score one-on-one against anybody. Guys like Kyrie, Luca, KD if he's healthy, Steph Curry, right? You got all these guys who can take you off the dribble one on one, hit every shot. Like, I don't know, maybe they just need more of this Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum type action. So that was probably the only entertaining thing
Yeah,
that I saw, at least in the game. And, to some degree, Dame shooting, from long range and all these guys trying to see who can hit the longest three. So I don't know. Maybe they add, you know, like a 4 point line in the game. I don't know. That's something to think about, possibly. But yeah, they just need to, I think for the All-Star game, they just need to keep it close. Like I think that's what everyone's praying for, right? Is the game needs to be close in the fourth quarter. Then guys start trying and they play defense. But yeah, I don't know about the first three quarters because
yeah.
nobody really plays defense.
I mean, the thing that's hard with basketball, right? Like, at least in the NFL, the main, cause for concern is like the hits. So you take away the hits, you still got flag football. Basketball, anything could go wrong, like fingers, ankles, knees and stuff like that. But there's not really anything you can do to take that away necessarily. So maybe you turn, the All-Star game into like a 3v3 showcase thing, something like that. Uh just have run 3-on-3s, king of the court style, something makes the game a little bit more competitive. They don't have to get super tired doing it. You can just play half court or like I said, with the one-on-ones. But I think a change is going to be needed because yeah, I have zero interest in watching the NBA All-Star stuff. Um I mean the dunk contest is always cool, right? Well,
I like
when
the 3-point
when the
contest.
dunkers are
That's my
good.
favorite.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it's the most competitive, right? Like it's just shooting. There's no like threat or harm that's gonna be done, so guys can
Hmm.
really try their hardest to be competitive with that, right? So, um, yeah, I don't know what the NBA is has to do, but I think something has to be done if they want to keep the game because it's kind of like what's the point of having the game if I mean even the players, right? Are like Jalen Brown was just bashing it. He's like, oh, it wasn't no one played defense, so it's not really competitive. Like even Jokic is like, yeah, this is not my type of game. You like you
Yeah.
don't draft me for this stuff. So it's like even the players kind of are just whatever's about it. But I guess we'll have to see. At least Dame took home the 3-point championship. Mac McClung ran away with dunk contest. He hit all his dunks on the first try too, which is I think really underrated.
That's insane. Yeah.
Um, and I mean, we've always known Mac McClung. If you kind of follow the high school scene a little bit, and always explosive. Um, I don't know. It would be nice to see him get to the league. I think he could be, like a backup point guard on a team. And he could be a big spark guy. I think a lot of teams could use something like that. So who knows? Maybe this is just the start that he needed um to get onto a roster, right? Like now he has some recognition. Maybe his name brings in a few more tickets. So good for Mac McClung. And I didn't watch the skills challenge thing. Nah, I don't really care too
You didn't
much
really
about
miss
that.
much with that. Nobody could shoot in that contest too. So that was kind of an embarrassment.
Yeah. Well, like things like that, like just play horse at that point, like they should have a horse game or something. I'd rather watch like guys play
I like
horse,
that. I like that.
right? Than have the skills competition. Like just have, random like five guys playing horse or something. I don't know. Give them a whole bunch of props and like, I don't know, something to spice up the festivities because it's a little like sometimes it's a little hard to watch. It's a little cringe, but it is what it is. Those are our suggestions, NBA. So do what you will.
Yeah. Listen to us, Adam Silver and
Uh,
Roger Goodell.
yeah. Okay. Well,
What'd you think
anyway,
about what'd you think about the live draft though?
I mean, the live draft was pretty entertaining.
I
I
thought it
mean,
was pretty good.
Giannis was trolling like with the jaw thing.
He
Um,
wasn't trolling, he was dead serious.
no, I know he was dead serious. He's just yeah. LeBron is pretty good on the mic. I think like I'm a huge LeBron fan, but the funniest thing about LeBron sometimes to me is like I think when he tries too hard to be funny, it's like a little cringe, like just a little bit. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Um, he's not as like entertaining on the mic. Like I think when LeBron is just being himself, he can be like pretty funny. But when he's trying to play to a crowd and like, be a like comedian almost, like I don't know. I think it's funny. Um I mean he can't be great at everything, right? Um but yeah, I don't know. I still think he did a good job. He like him and Giannis, I think were the two guys to do it though. Because I don't think anyone else is gonna be as good on the mic as those two guys. Like Dame isn't gonna try to be wouldn't try to be entertaining.
No.
Maybe I could see Joel Embiid. He would probably be a good character. But even like KD is pretty, you know, like a pretty mellow dude. Um, Ja would just be talking crazy probably if he was at Luca. You know, like all these guys, I don't think I see them or like even Jokic, right? I could see maybe Steph, LeBron, or Giannis. Those three guys, and maybe Joel Embiid. Those four guys probably would be the best in that type of situation. So at least they had the two captains to do it.
That's true. They should have KD versus Kyrie.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I can't imagine like if Kyrie was a team captain too. That'd just be. I don't think the NBA PR wants to see Kyrie on live TV with a mic in his hands. Like, I I don't know. I think it was pretty good that he drafted Kyrie though. That LeBron drafted Kyrie. I thought that was pretty good, and I thought it was interesting. Giannis drafted Dame first
He was playing
over.
mind games with LeBron.
Mm-hmm. So at least that one followed correctly. Dame was the first reserve off the board.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is what it is. We'll see what adjustments they make because I think they will make some kind of change going forward. Okay. Well, let's talk about the actual season. So we're at the All-Star break, so coming down to the home stretch of the regular season games, right? Um let's just do how about some predictions first, right? Uh, our two teams, and then we'll talk about each conference. So the Lakers, they made the moves at the deadline, and last game before the All Star break looked pretty good for them with D'Angelo Russell. LeBron came back. AD is back. I think I'm gonna project us in the play-in. I think one of the teams will fizzle out. I'm not too sure, but I think this team gives us the best chance to win right now. It it's still not perfect, but I'm hoping everyone can get some synergy going forward. I think the D'Angelo Russell Malik Beasley shooting combination should help out LeBron a lot more and kind of open the floor up for Anthony Davis as well. I don't know what kind of offense they're gonna run yet, or how they're gonna, if D'Angelo Russell's gonna be on the ball, LeBron's gonna be on the ball. Um, I think LeBron will probably help figure that out with Darvin Ham, and I will say we make the play in, and I think if they make the play in tournament, they have a chance at being the 7 or 8 seed. Um, so we'll see. Now, are they gonna get past that? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I can see us making the play in. Blazers, Matt. How are you feeling about the Blazers?
Ooh, you know, considering that they're kind of in the same position as the Lakers, right? I think they're 1.5 games up on the Lakers. So they're right now, they're outside of the play-in. Obviously, they didn't have the splash moves that the Lakers had at the deadline. So I don't know. I don't know. I think they did get better in a way, but I don't know if it's enough for them to even get in the plane. And I'm just gonna look at the teams that's in the plan right now. Like New Orleans, I would say they would probably get in. Golden State, I think when Steph comes back, I think we all know that they'll be in for sure. Then you got two teams. So obviously you got the Timberwolves. They got some talent, I think. But the team that I'm looking at is OKC, a young team, outside of Shea. Do they have, a guy that can get you, 2025? Josh Giddey is emerging, but I don't think he's there yet. They don't have Chet Holmgren, obviously. So I don't know. I could see the Lakers taking their spot, and then that's it. I don't see any of the teams from the top six, at least, falling out of the playoff picture to this point. So I don't know. It's not looking good for the Blazers, at least on paper. And you have to keep in mind, Anthony Simons just got hurt, right? So I think they said that his injury typically is 4 to 6 weeks. So at that, he could be out for the season, and you ain't going nowhere without him. I don't care if Dame's playing or not. You can't go anywhere without him, Dame, and Jeremy Grant, who's also battling some injuries right now. So I don't know. It looks tough. It looks tough to me, and I think the Lakers' schedule is a little easier, if I'm not mistaken. So I just think there's just a little too many teams to overcome at this point.
Okay, well, maybe Minnesota and OKC drop out. We'll have to see. But I guess let's just do a finals prediction since we're at the All-Star break now. The trade deadline has passed. Um, I don't know what you're feeling. I will say that after all the moves, I can't deny I think Phoenix is the favorite now in the West. I mean, just adding Kevin Durant to that team, I don't see how they don't make it to the finals. I think uh you can talk about chemistry, but KD is a guy where you can plug him on any team and I truly think he can fit right away. Um he's not a diva necessarily, and he's just a hooper, right? Like he loves basketball. That's the thing about KD. Like he absolutely loves the game. And so he will do whatever it takes to have to win, He gave up. I mean, he was still the main scorer in Golden State, but obviously was okay with the usage being a little bit down, right? So we know he's capable of sharing the ball on a super team. As long as Devin Booker is on board with that, uh, I like the Suns to come out of the West. I just think they're just gonna have too much firepower to any team to handle, even for Denver, uh, Memphis or Dallas. I still don't think the Kyrie thing's gonna work out, but um, I got Phoenix, and then so out of the East, I know I said the Sixers at the beginning of the year, right? But if I had to change my answer, I think it's gonna come down to whoever gets the 1 seed in the East, because I think home court is gonna matter. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna take the Bucks just because Giannis avoided that big injury, and since Middleton has like really come back now, I mean they're on a 12-game win streak. They're just on fire right now. They're on a tear, and I can see them carrying that um into the playoffs. So I'm thinking it's gonna be a Phoenix Milwaukee rematch in the finals, but this time with Kevin Durant.
Hmm.
That's what I got.
All right, all right. That's a good pick. Who did you pick in the West? Do you remember
I
from
think
the
I
beginning of the season?
said
Did you say the
I
Warriors?
think I said Golden State and the Sixers.
Okay. Okay. So I think I said in the preseason, I said the Bucks and the Warriors. So I'm gonna say those two teams are still gonna be it.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's to me, it's so hard to go against championship DNA. And I think obviously the Warriors, they're ninth in the West. Steph's not playing, but when Steph is back and he's playing right, they're just they're hard to beat 4 times out of 7. I don't care if Kevin Durant's on the other side. Like the Warriors are different. And I think with Clay's playing at a much better level right now. To me, it seems he's kind of found a little rhythm coming off the Achilles injury. Last year was really just trying to get his feet wet, but I'm seeing now, especially with Steph out, Clay is having some big games, mid 30s, dropped a 40-point game recently. So I don't know. And you still got Draymond, right? They got Gary Payton now officially in the trade. I think a defender always works in the playoffs. And I think, if you look at the matchup, I would say Phoenix. Golden State maybe in the Western Conference Finals. And who's going to guard KD? I think Andrew Wiggins has the size and the body to do so. Maybe not slow him down, but at least contain him. Because we saw what he did against Jason Tatum in the finals. He can go up and handle a number one scorer. And I know KD is just a whole nother level, but I think Andrew Wiggins had the test last year, and he'll be kind of that counter to KD on the defensive end. So I still think Golden State, with a healthy Steph, uh, is going to be there at the end. And obviously, I said the Bucks from the beginning. I'm still sticking with the Bucks. They're the number 2 seed. You said they're on a 12-game winning streak. I think we can all say we can assume it's probably going to be a Boston Bucks
I
Eastern Conference Finals.
I could go either
If
way
it's
though. I
if they're
really think you could.
healthy, yeah. But I just think Giannis avoided that injury, and he's the best player on the planet to me. And it's really hard to pick against someone like that, right? Against when you take LeBron, when he was making his finals runs, he was by far the best player on the planet. And it's you'd be foolish not to pick that kind of player playing at that level to not get to the finals. So I still think the Bucks are going to be there. Chris Middleton is getting his feet
See,
wet,
that's the
coming off
thing.
the bench.
Hmm.
Drew Holiday is playing on another level this year, which is scary for the rest of the league. And keep in mind that they did get Jay Crowder at the trade deadline, which is a very underrated move. He's going to play that PJ Tucker role that they were missing last year. And that was that guy that they had when they won the finals, that gritty defender on ball who can guard the number one guy. So I think that Jay Crowder move is going to be huge for the Bucks. So I still got the Bucks and the Warriors with my preseason picks at this point.
Yeah, and especially obviously last year Boston beat Milwaukee, but they didn't have Chris Middleton
Middleton.
for that series, right? And he's an all-star caliber player. Uh, he can defend and he can get his own shot.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the load that it took uh Giannis to carry that Bucks team offensively and just kind of ran out of steam at the end. So I think with a healthy Middleton, if he's back in his all-star form, they have Drew Holiday playing offensively like he hasn't played in a while and I don't know. That to me, that's the edge. I know Boston did get Malcolm Brogdon, which we talked about. Like if they get a true point guard, that will probably put them over the top. But I just think, yeah, with Middleton back, if that team stays healthy and the Jay Crowder move, like you said, underrated signing, I'm just mm, giving the slight edge to Milwaukee over Boston. Um, yeah, it'll be
Yep,
interesting.
I'm with you on that one.
It'll be interesting for sure. But before we get off basketball, we have to talk about the newest big signing, and that would be Russell Westbrook going to LA, but the other LA team, the Clippers. And I am happy for Russ that he gets to go where he wanted, but at the same time, I'm happy as a Lakers fan because, you know, I am not sure. Like, it's more about fit to me, right? We talked about Russ. He's a great athlete. Effort will never be a question with him. Motivation, you name it, right? All those intangibles. The thing that gets in his way, though, is the shooting and the turnovers, right? And the Clippers, they have two dynamic wing scorers, lockdown defenders, but they still were missing that true point guard. And now that they don't have Reggie Jackson as well, I'm kind of interested to see how that offense is gonna run. Um, you know, I know they still have a pretty good team on paper, but we'll see how the Russell Westbrook signing kind of pulls that team. Because I mean, Russ is a great player, but he hasn't won or been on a winning team in recent years, right? So I hope it's like leads to implosion of the Clippers because, being a Lakers fan, you never want to see the Clippers do good. So that's my hope. I'm hoping, you know, Kawhi gets upset or something and then he requests a trade. Because I know Paul George is happy about it, right? He wanted Russ to come to LA, but I'm not so sure.
I
So
think the key here is Ty Lue. Like, how is Ty Lue gonna handle the ego of Russ? But he did coach Kyrie, so I guess you could say he did have some baggage on him, and he was able to succeed with that. But I don't know. I saw a lot of reports that were saying Russ wants to start with the Clippers. So I don't know how that's gonna work, to be honest. I think they've had Terrence Mann playing the point right now, and he's been playing pretty well. So I don't know if you want to mess that up if you're the Clippers, but I don't know. How do you handle the ego of Russ? That's literally we're gonna ask that question everywhere he goes from this point in his career. But I don't know. I really don't like it if I'm the Clippers. I just think they were in a good place, I feel like. And the team is kind of starting to build something, right? Kawhi comes back. He's starting to get right. Paul George, obviously, all-star this year. And then you throw in the Russ thing. So it's, you look at his track history going back all the way to OKC. Not a good one when you just acquire someone like that, trade deadline. I think it was Houston. He acquired, he was acquired mid-season, and that was just an absolute disaster. So we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of this if I'm a Clippers fan. So I know you must be happy. That's for sure.
yeah. Um yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty happy he's going there. But I guess we'll see. We'll just have to see how it plays out, right? Okay. Well, I think that's enough NBA talk. We'll see how the season goes. We'll be following basketball much closer now since that's pretty much the main sport um, to be followed. But let's round off with some Hawaii sports, not just basketball anymore. But Matt, why don't you go ahead, start us off with basketball, then we'll jump over to baseball.
All right. So as usual, Hawaii basketball recap this week. So Hawaii was on the road, had a big two-game stretch against Long Beach State and Cal State Bakersfield, who they played today. But on Saturday, a huge one against Long Beach, a team that's always given us trouble, throughout the years we've been in the Big West. But Hawaii squeaks out a pretty nail-biting win, 70-67 on the road. They started fast, had a 14-point lead at one point in the first half, go into the locker room up 10. And then, it just seems like UH just can never play a complete game at this point. There's always a strong half followed by a weak half, a weak half followed by a strong half. That's not enough to overcome. And in this case, they were lucky, you know, up by 12 late in the game with 4 minutes, and then you allow a 15-3 run late in the game. That's that's just
Can't have it.
that's like every game it feels like they're just giving up a 10 plus 0 run or some kind of margin like that. That's just it's just so demoralizing. And it was late in the game. Like I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're gonna crumble, we're gonna lose. And sure enough, we were close. Jovan gets fouled, has a chance to go to the line, ice the game, misses both of his free throws. So now they're only up by two. And then they fouled Long Beach State going down the other end. So they're shooting free throws to tie the game. But luckily their guy missed the second of their two shots. And then Hoy gets the rebound. Hepa makes his two free throws. And we finally close that one out. So not a very good performance at all to me. Just the closing ability. Gotta close. But at least we had some bright spots from Kamaka Hepa that game. Our bigs were great. Hepa and De Silva kind of led the way. Obviously, Jovan kind of struggled late in the game, but yeah, we just didn't have that clutch gene late in the game. But we move on to today's game, a less inferior opponent, you could say, but Hawaii wins this one 61-50. And I'm happy about this one because my guy, maybe Hunter's guy as well, we can say, but this was the Justice Jackson game, right? I'm a huge fan of him. I just think he provides that kind of spark off the bench. He can get you a bucket when he's right. And boy, he was on fire tonight. 16 points, 4 for 5 from three, 6 of 8 from the field. And honestly, we needed all of that because our two guard, you could say our best scorer this year on paper, Noel Coleman, threw up a goose egg, had nothing. So
I hope he finds it, man.
I'm putting out an APB for Noel Coleman. Where is he? Did someone like kidnap him? Like I don't know where he's been the past few games. I don't know. We need to find him because we're gonna need him definitely. But Justice Jackson was huge, and really this was about the bench to me. Um, the three guys, more sec, a raw freshman, but he had 3 blocks, and he's a presence underneath the rim, being 7 foot. So he altered the shots underneath. Beon Riley came back this road trip from injury, but we kind of know what Beon Riley is right now. He's a spark plug player. He's not going to score a lot of points, but he just always seems to be around the ball. And you kind of need guys like that, a gritty defender, right? Just does a little bit of everything. And that's exactly what he did in this game. Had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, had a steal. So just doing the little things. And it was nice to see all the bench players getting some nice contributions here. But as you can see in the box score, Hepa had a pretty rough game, 4 for 13. Javon had a nice bounce back game. Also hit a half court shot in this game, by the way, which is
Yeah, I
pretty
saw it.
cool.
Made sports center.
Yep. Jovan, something with Jovan and buzzer beaters this year. But yeah, it was good to see them kind of, control this game for the most part and then pull away at the end. So the real question is now, this next homestand coming up this week is huge. They're fourth in the conference right now, and they're playing two teams that they're chasing. So there's really nothing to say, but they got to win. They got to win because if you lose, thinking worst case scenario, you just don't want to fall below that 6 seed. That's the worst case scenario, but they're still in line, believe it or not, to get that 1 seed, and they can get right back in it with a 2 game sweep at home this week. So I'm praying that UH can just play 2 complete games. So 4 complete halves of basketball this week, and they should be fine. But that's a big if at this point.
Big if indeed.
And the Saturday's game is huge because they play UC Irvine. That game is also senior night, last home game of the year, and it's on ESPN2, national TV. So I'm hoping the crowd comes, and especially someone that I'm talking to right now who said that they were gonna go to a basketball game this
Yeah,
year,
I think
and
I'm going on
there's
Thursday.
two there's 2 games left, 2 games left in this season. So I'll be there for both.
I'll plan to go on Thursday.
But yeah, this is a huge, huge week, and this is a good week to go. Honestly, 2 good teams. So let's just hope we take care of business. That's all.
Yeah, I hope so too. But Hawaii baseball started this weekend, Matt. Opening series of the season. I know you must have went to one of the games. I'm guessing.
I did.
So why don't you give us that rundown?
Well, I went to the worst game because I went to the game that they lost. But UH, they started off their season this week against Wright State. Uh, I don't know why, but I just seem to go to the worst games possible, even dating back to last year. So yeah, gosh, like they were just terrible. They're honestly terrible. They started off the season, I think it was a walk and then a home run to start the year. So they're already down 2-0 after 2 batters. So it was just downhill ever since then. The bats weren't alive. Outside of Jordan Donahue, nothing was really going their way offensively until the 8th inning. but I left already because it was gone. So I was trying to beat the traffic. But UH ended up losing that game. But give them credit. They played a doubleheader on Saturday. They bounced back big time. They get a walk-off in the first game and then 12-2 victory in the second game. And then the Sunday game was probably the Avalanche game. They scored 2 runs in the first, 8 runs in the second. I was watching those first 2 innings. I was like, oh my goodness, like why couldn't they do this when I was watching? But yeah, just kind of seems to be kind of the UH trend, I guess. They lose bad on opening day and then they bounce back. So I like that they were willing to, kind of flush that bad game out and then, end up taking the series 3 out of 4, which is really good. But I don't know, this team looks pretty spicy to me, at least on paper, because we got most of our position players back. So, a lot of small ball, bunting, a lot of hit and runs. Guys are in motion a lot, which is really good. We're not a power hitting team. I think outside of maybe Igawa, Kyson Donahue, our true 3-4 hitters, guys really are base hit, gap to gap kind of guys. So we're gonna have to be a lot of beat guys with a lot of speed and small ball. And especially on Sunday, that was true small ball fashion. And even in the walk-off game, Stone Meow gets a hit, steals second, scores off the hit. So just things like that, taking the extra base is how Hawaii's going to win. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I think the concern is probably going to be pitching. We lost a lot of guys from last year's team, so we're going to have to find that balance. But off to a good start. 3-1 is that's not bad at all for our first series.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. The Donahue brother. Are they brothers? They're brothers, right?
They're
Oh,
cousins.
they're cousins. Which is the other one that went to Oregon State before?
Christian.
Okay, okay.
So Christian is brothers with Jordan.
Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Yeah. Um, well, I definitely want to go to a baseball game. I'll go to one at least.
Yeah, your brother was there.
Yeah, I know. He was complaining about it too, that he's at the
Yeah,
worst
that
worst
was
game.
terrible. Had
Okay.
2 beers that game, so that was probably the highlight.
Nice. Anyway, that was a short one this week, Matt. Not a ton to talk about. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more to discuss next week. But why don't we just round it off already? We can You can give us our sports fact of the day.
All right, so I was not prepared, so I just found it right now. So I'm gonna
Nice.
stick with the All-Star theme. So actually, last year's All-Star game was 1 year ago when Team LeBron beat Team Durant 163 to 160. That was the crazy game. I think LeBron hit that fadeaway in Cleveland to walk it off. Steph Curry was the finals MVP, had 50 points that game. So he almost caught Anthony Davis's record. And then this year, obviously, Jason Tatum broke it. So 1 year ago, the NBA All-Star game in Cleveland took place. And that was a more exciting game than this year's All-Star game, let me tell you that. But that's a last minute sports fact. I was not prepared for that. So
That's
sorry,
fine.
everyone.
That's fine. Um, we'll take it. But Matt, yeah, thanks. It was a good pod. Wrap this one up here. Thanks everyone for listening, and yeah, we'll be back next week.